to count some slope. What's the slope of this line? First thing I want you to do is don't look at any of the numbers. Don't look at anything except the line. What kind of slope, what type of slope is this line showing us? Well, it's going up, so it's going to be a positive slope. So let's look at our answers. This is negative and this is negative. So let's go ahead and mark those out because we know that that won't be your answer. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my point at my y-intercept. And I have to decide, am I going down and over or up and over? Well, I think you can see we're going up. We're going to go up 1 over 2. So it's positive 1 over 2. But I want to prove that to you by starting back here and making sure it works every time. So let's make sure we're right. Up 1 over 2. 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 Up 1. Oops, I got crooked there. Over 2. 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. So I know my slope is correct because even though I started here, every time I counted 1 over 2, I stayed on the line. Now it's important to look at my answers. My answer is 1 over 2. Okay, so make sure you choose the right one. We went up 1 over 2, which is A. Now we're going to look at this and we're going to identify 3 relations that are functions. So I'm going to make a note on Desmos over here. Functions. No x's repeat. So if it's a function, no x can repeat. Let's start down here with the tables. I think that might be easiest. First of all, we know we only are worried about the x's, which is also called input. So I'm going to mark out output because I don't want to be confused and look at that. I've got a 3, a 2, a 1, a 0, and a -1. That is a function because every x value or input is different. I'm going to come to C and look at that one. All right, I'm going to start at the bottom. 10, 4, 5, 4. Those 4s repeat, so that cannot be a function. Now I'm going to look at B and E. Let's start at B. I'm only looking at my x's, so I'm going to mark out my y's. I only do that because I don't want to get confused. I've got a 0, a 2, and a 5. They're all different, so that's a function. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here because I'm going to be super careful and try everything. X values a 3, X values a 3, X values a 3. Those X's are repeating, so that will not work. Next, I'm going to come up here to D. Now, I need a vertical line test. And if it goes through 2 points with one vertical line, then we know that it is not a function. Well, to make sure you understand, I'm going to go ahead and grab a line, and I'm going to put it right here. Okay, upside, let go of it. Oh, goodness. Notice when I draw that line and I make it vertical, it touches both of those points at one time. Okay, and if I can move it, which I'm not sure I can, but I'm going to try. Nope, I'll just write another line. If I draw a vertical line here, it touches both points at one time. So that means that that cannot be a function because the x values for this point and this point and this one and this one are the same. And functions do not let x values repeat. Now I'm going to go ahead and get a line again. And I'm going to come to our first one. And I'm going to draw a line right down the axis. Okay? It only touches my graph 1 point. So since it touches my graph only once, that means that this is a function because there are no repeating x's. So my answer here is A, B, and F. Remember, functions, you cannot have any x's repeat for it to be a function. As soon as an x repeats, it's no longer a function.